From the hood, some moved, some caught them a case. I be filled with hate, but fuck it, my actions are justified. I'm treating life like it's do or die. Yeah, I came up in a place where it's hard to be safe. And the people I grew up with are hardly my mates. Used to rock with almost everyone, they started to break. From the hood, some moved, some caught them a case. And so it changed. As my perspective with age. Remember walking with Gonzalo on our way to go play. Crossing a bridge, thought we seen our friends, so we had stared. And for that simple act, my nigga got socked in the face. Shocked, so I stayed at a distance. I was too scared to move. Like if I make this dude my enemy, then what would he do? Probably pull up with some friends, a weapon or two. The whole time I'm thinking, damn, we from the same hood as you. It's often the small events that be deciding our fate. My vision tunnel forever. Now I don't look at their face. Now I ain't looking for problems. I'll cross the street if I gotta. How I scream Black Lives Matter when I discriminate. I be filled with hate, but fuck it, my actions are justified. Every word I try to help them with, them niggas nullified. So I ain't worried about uplifting. I'm worried about my life, but who am I? Just a kid that's trying to get the suit and tie. Know my heart is in the art, but I'ma keep each road alive. Cause my mama did a lot. Cause I owe it to myself. I'm trying to get it all. I'm treating life like it's do or die. Cause it is, my nigga. It really is. It's weird. So last year, I got a scholarship to go to RYERSON, right? And the scholarship was in my neighborhood. So the building where I had to go to get the papers and whatnot, I was just walking. And it's broad daylight. I'm walking to the other side of the neighborhood. And while I was walking, even though it was broad daylight, I was just shook. I'm like, damn, like this is a side that I really just don't like being on, no matter what time. So while I was walking, I was just, looking around, usual shit. And then a thought occurred to me. I'm like, damn, imagine I was just bulletproof. Like none of this shit would, And it just popped in my head. I'm like, none of this would matter. So I just kept walking, but I wrote down the thought, like, bulletproof. That's interesting. That's a nice, thing for a song. And then I got to the place, got the papers, etc., whatever. Went home, same thing, looking around. But then when I got home, I'm like, let me write this song, like, bulletproof. I like that idea. So at the time, I wasn't working with anyone as far as producers. So I just Googled, like, Kendrick type beat or, J. Cole type beat, because I want to tell a story. And then, I kid you not, the first beat that I saw said Kendrick type beat, bulletproof. So before I even pressed it, it was one of those where I was like, this is going to be the beat. I just know it off top. Cover for Bulletproof. So it was when I brought the idea to Hannah, which is the girl that did it, fly.hv, little shout out. But when I brought the idea, it was to have two things contrasting. So the things that make us, and when I say us, I mean kids like me, bulletproof, and then things that we need to be bulletproof from. So on the one side, there's the paramedics, the yellow tape, the shootings, basically, things that we're trying to be bulletproof from. There's the news articles. Now, all of these articles are actually from shootings that have happened in my neighborhood or that have affected me personally. There was a teacher that was shot and killed in my neighborhood. Rest in peace. I remember that vividly because I was a little kid and I was in my bed, and then you just hear like multiple shots. I feel weird even talking about it, but you hear multiple shots and then it's just like that. Can it be something else? You know what I'm saying? That little hope, but it wasn't. It was one that was really personal to me. At the bottom right, there's a news article from City News, and it's about a teenager that got shot in Pizza. Now, right underneath that is my soccer team when I used to play soccer, and the guy that got shot in that Pizza was actually on that team.
A teenager is dead today after police say he was shot and killed inside this Pizza.
17-year-old Gerald Hagley. He was a good kid, a quiet kid. We got mixed up with the wrong crowd, and it cost him his life.
It's crazy to think that like we were that close to each other. It makes you think like, damn, it could have easily just been me or someone else or anything else. And then there's actually a photo of me and him to the far left, and that's me and him holding the trophies when we were younger. And it's like, that made me realize this is the other side of the cover. Like, these are the things that are making us bulletproof without even knowing it. So the soccer team that had a bunch of black kids from not so great neighborhoods, or just kids in general from not so great neighborhoods, but we're spending our time here instead of there on the street. And then education, right behind Bulletproof is the University of Oxford, because I went to England over summer. So to think like, yeah, little things like that, like education is making me bulletproof, because I could have been in the hood over summer. And then speaking at my high school, and
just the contrast, really. I feel like in music in general, especially in Toronto, this narrative is missing. Because it's either it's like hyper violent, which is nothing wrong with any lane. What you lived is what you live. But it's either hyper violent or not at all, really. And I was like, there's no voice or at least no voice I've come across. I don't want to discount anyone, but no voice it's not either of those. And it's kind of from the hyper violence, but it really wishes that it wasn't so. And just speaking about that perspective, like being scared of it and not really wanting to be a part of it or anything. And then the main thing, it's funny because I never really thought of what I want people to take away from the song. It was more so just like, I'm scared, I need to write, you know what I mean? But listening back to it and getting feedback from it, I want people to, I guess, reflect on what makes them bulletproof. So, without even knowing it, it's like, personally, education, music, acting, like, these are things that are making me metaphorically bulletproof, because once I elevate to a certain point with these tools that I'm using, these issues in my neighborhood can't touch me. So you might not come from a neighborhood like this, but what are things that are holding you back? What are things that are making you scared? What are things that could really cost you your life? And what can you do, or what are you doing that can get you out of that situation, whether economically, socially, financially? Like, that's the main thing, really. Just reflect on that. If you have that, like, run with it.
I wish that I was bulletproof. I wish that I was bulletproof. I wish that I was bulletproof. I wish that I was bulletproof.